Am I the butthole for calling out my neighbor, who tried to take home all of my neighbor's chicken tikka masala at the beginning of our potluck? Last weekend I invited my neighbors over for a potluck, pool party, nothing big, just the neighbors in my cul-de-sac. Everyone has kids around the same age, so it was a good time for everyone. There is this Indian couple that lives near us, call them Pooja and Jim. Now Pooja's cooking is incredible and she brought over some samosas and chicken tikka masala. Samosas as the appetizer and chicken tikka for lunch. Now we have this other neighbor, call her Lindsay. Lindsay loves Pooja's cooking. When it came to the samosas, her and her husband really went to town on them. It was a bit rude in my opinion, filling up your plate with them. Not everyone got to have some. I didn't say anything. But this is what got annoying. When I opened up the food for lunch, Lindsay first takes a big plate of food. And then 5 minutes later, she says she and her family have to go home, and that she is going to take some food back with her. I was like, sure. And then the entire aluminum tray of chicken tikka, that people are still taking food from, she tries to take. I was like, okay, this is a bit too much. I was like, hey Lindsay, people are still eating food right now. I'll have my son bring you guys over after people are done. She then gets mad, saying that she brought a big tray of muffins, she didn't even bake these, they are from Costco. And that she is just taking her fair share. It got really weird. It was like she just got super territorial of the food. And says that I am targeting her. My wife steps in and is like, no, we just want to make sure there is food for everyone. She then starts angry, crying, puts the food back and says we humiliated her and that we only did this because she is fat girl. Pooja and Jim step in and they are like, no, it's okay, you can take the food, we can make some more, it's no worries. And if we are low on food, we will just order pizza. Lindsay leaves and her children leave shortly after. I didn't want to humiliate Lindsay, I just wanted to ensure that there was enough food for everyone. And it's just rude leaving a party early and then taking a lot of the food with you. Pooja tells me that I shouldn't have said anything, that she is actually flattered that Lindsay likes my food that much. Not the butthole. Amazed that she went to crying when she knew she was in the wrong. Just because you bring a tray to a potluck doesn't mean you are allowed to leave and take another tray without consent. Amazed that she went to crying when she knew she was in the wrong. It's a counterattack. Let me have what I want or I'll start loudly crying and make a scene. I did this in the grocery store when I was 4. My mom walked away from me and pretended I didn't exist until I stopped crying. My mom laughed at me and told me that this would never work. And it never, ever did. My toddler does this occasionally, and my response is, go for it, let's see how it goes. Daddy can wait. Then I pop on my phone and check my email while she yells. The whole point is that she won't do it as an adult. Laughing out loud. This is when I state, let me know when you're done. And go get an iced coffee. When my 3-year-old does this, I tell her to go to her room and cry and come out when she's done. She does exactly that and I have to keep from laughing every time she runs down the hall crying. She always comes back 2 to 3 minutes later, though, happy as a clam. I still do this as an adult. Sometimes you need a good cry in the bedroom, smiley face. If she tries it as a teenager, perhaps I'll make a show of adjusting the automatic deposit into her college fund down by $5 and treat myself to a coffee. I remember one time my co-worker arrived like 2 hours early to her shift. Asked her why she was there and she said her teen was throwing a fit over being asked to get ready for school faster. So she just said she wasn't going to stand there and be yelled at. Kid could find her own way to school. If I recall correctly, there was an important test that day. Got in her car and left. When my toddler tried it at home for the first time, I just mimicked her until she stopped. The look on her face was priceless, but she doesn't do it anymore. When she's legitimately upset, comfort. When she's trying emotional blackmail, nope. My brother-in-law actually got on the ground and threw a tantrum of her own when my boyfriend did this as a kid, laughing my butt off. He stopped and looked at her like WTF, and she got up and started walking. Don't think she ever had a problem like that after that, laughing out loud. My youngest was the only one who ever threw tantrums. So we would ask him, should we buy the bricks now? When he was really little, he'd ask, through clenched teeth, what bricks? And we'd say, the bricks to build you a bridge. So you can live underneath it with the other grumpy trolls. Dora the Explorer reference. Once he was so angry, we asked the first question, He just yelled out in public, "I am not a grumpy troll." Eventually it just stopped his tantrums. Poor kid. He was great most of the time, but he really could be a troll. Original poster replies. I don't think it was manipulative type tears, I think it was embarrassment. She didn't want to be seen as the bigger woman that's taking all the food. That's why I tried to talk to her one-on-one quietly. I know that optics can make it look worse. Not the butthole. The fact is that she was a bigger woman taking all the food. But it's nothing to do with her being fat, it's just plain rude. And ridiculously entitled. Who tried to take food home before everyone is finished? A large group of my friends held a potluck. On the invitation it stated that at the end of the lunch people could bring home something they liked. In order to facilitate that, there was a large stack of 30 Gladware plastic containers. Before everyone even arrived, I see one young woman running out to her car with the entire stack of containers. I stopped her and asked what she's doing. She said the invite said I could take anything I liked and I liked these. I sent her back inside with the containers while marveling at that level of entitlement. Probably lucky she didn't decide she liked the dining room furniture. When I worked retail, there was this older guy that would always stuff his lunch bag full of leftovers from whenever management had a pizza party or grilled burgers or whatever other food they provided on special occasions. He would do this at the end of his shift and even before everyone had a chance to take their break and have some. We all found it weird and he had no shame. We all speculated on why he would do it because whenever it was things like pizza, they were $5 pizzas from Little Caesars. Hardly high quality or coveted pizza. The dude was semi-retired with a rich father and what seemed like an impressive retirement fund and plan. He just worked with us because retirement was boring to him and retail offered a flexible schedule and time off if he really needed it. So no hardship reason to take the $5 pizza home. We were just dumbfounded by it all. Many well-off people are that way because they are very frugal. One of my uncles never worked and had millions in his trust fund. He'd buy clothes at Goodwill and pick up furniture from the side of the road. The only thing he'd spend money on was cookware. He refused to wash pots and pans after cooking, and instead would throw them away. I went into his garage once and there were dozens of boxes of new cookware sets. My uncle definitely would have taken the pizza. Laughing out loud. I worked at a retail place that would buy brisket or turkey on busy weekends, like Black Friday. There would be 3 deliveries, one for the morning crew, one for the afternoon/evening crew, SND a late one held for the overnight team. One Black Friday some co-workers and I were waiting on the afternoon delivery. Even if it wasn't your lunch break they provided plates and tin foiled you could make a plate, refrigerate it, and heat it up later. So no one missed out. A friend comes up and tells me the new stuff just arrived. I flag someone down to cover the fitting room and 2 more girls come up and say don't bother. The meat's all gone. How? Oh, well, a couple of guys from so-and-so's team each made like 4 giant plates of turkey, wrapped in foil, and stuffed them in the fridge. Like, the turkey meant to feed like 100 people. Oh heck to the no. I marched into the break room, pulled every meat plate out, and dumped it back on the tray. A couple people said, "Oh, John and his friends put that in there for later I think." Sorry, but they don't get to steal the meal meant for an entire Black Friday shift of people. But, what if they come back and there's no meat? They think they have a meal waiting. Know what? Don't care. They didn't care that 97 other people would go hungry. They have a problem, tell them to bring it to the managers. Never heard boo from them of course, but I really would have loved to see their faces. Or have a sit down with HR and watch them explain themselves. Then she shouldn't have been a fat woman taking all the food. I am a very fat woman. I don't want to be seen as the fat woman taking all the food, so I don't, and follow me carefully because I know this is tricky, I don't take all the food. I don't take more food than I bring. I don't have seconds before other people have had firsts. I don't take home someone else's leftovers unless I have double and triple checked that they don't want them. And I don't walk away with entire trays of food while people are still eating. This was a major party foul. This was basic etiquette on a level with don't wear white to someone else's wedding. And as a fat woman, I am furious she's trying to use that as her excuse. In all seriousness, I appreciate your courtesy in trying to approach this with discretion. But she did a publicly visible act, and then made a public Noisy scene when you gently corrected her. She may or may not be embarrassed, but she was definitely manipulative. You were not the butthole. I'm not going to blame Pooja and Jim for trying to avoid confrontation, but it's time to rethink the guest list for your next party. Not the butthole. Lindsay was acting super entitled, and I'm sure that everyone else thought so and was happy for you calling her out. It sounds like she showed up just to take food. Pooja seems really sweet, but I don't really like her response. People at the party like the food, and I'd be kind of upset if someone took the good food and I ended up with pizza instead. Also, who would pay for the pizza? Original poster replies. I think Pooja and her husband are just very non-confrontational people. Explain that you are glad that Lindsay likes her cooking, but it's rude to take it all without allowing everyone else to have some. Her, Lindsay, reaction to go straight to accusing you of targeting her because of her weight is manipulative, and that you're not going to allow her to treat your guests that way or to treat Pooja and Jim that way. It's one thing if Pooja and Jim are hosting, it's entirely another if it's at your house. It's communal food, and it's disgustingly greedy to take whole trays back to your home when others haven't even eaten yet. I wouldn't be inviting Lindsay anymore, and she can whine and cry about it all she wants. She's rude and manipulative, and she wouldn't be enjoying anything else at my home again. Also, tell P&J that everyone loves their cooking. So Lindsay can't just take what everyone loves. The main event of meals from everyone when she already hoarded the samosas. Linda says and butthole. Generosity, especially for things like social events and food, is also a very big part of Indian culture, so it sounds like this was an extension of this. Shame is also a very big part of Indian culture, laughing my butt off, and I guarantee you this wouldn't have slid at an Indian party. No chance in hell. Pooja really wrong here too. If she wanted to diffuse situation, she could have offered to make another batch for neighbor and drop it off later. This batch is for the party for all to share. That is the spirit of a potluck. Since you are the host, it's absolutely your place to stop neighbor from taking an entire tray of food before the event is over. This is super greedy and rude. Even if she herself had brought the chicken, it should have stayed till the end of the party and she could have come back to get leftovers. This isn't about fat shaming. It's about neighbor having no manners and being selfish. Not the butthole. I'm glad Pooja is gracious, but I'd fight someone if they tried to abscond with good chicken tikka masala before everyone got some, too. Me too. Let her take her tray of Costco muffins back if she's so hungry. Not the butthole. Original poster. Even if she had brought something more on par with what everyone else brought, that would still have been unspeakably rude. And I can't fathom why she thinks she gets her fair share when that's all she brought. If she had brought lobster, she still took more than her fair share. Not the butthole. If Lindsay was a decent person, her response would have been, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize." Instead, she makes a huge scene and cries big blubbery, "Better let me have my way or I'll ruin everything," tears. That's jerk behavior. I'd just never invite her over again. Honestly, if Lindsay was a decent person, she wouldn't have tried to abscond with a whole tray of food. Not the butthole. Who goes to a potluck expecting to take food home? Being able to enjoy the food everyone else brought is the fair share of food you get from a potluck. Also, the distribution of leftovers is usually left to the host/whoever brought the dish. You really just said aloud what everyone was probably already thinking. Edit, THX for my first award. Yes, at a potluck the only thing you should take home is what you brought, if there is any left at the end, and any dishes you brought your food in. Growing up, these are the potluck laws I learned from my mom and grandmother. 1. Always bring enough for 1.5 the number to be in attendance. 2. Always bring a beverage as well as your main. 3. Offer to help set up. 4. Always bring extra cups, napkins, and paper plates, but leave them in the car, and if the host needs more, say, "I might have some in my car from the last time we went camping, let me check." 5. Never take more than one small portion of each item. 6. Don't go for your second round until everyone has had their first round, and even then wait about 15 minutes after the last person sits down. 7. Help wash up all empty containers at the end to make sure everyone leaves with their own and that the host isn't left with a huge task. Don't just portion anything up from others' contributions to take home because it's incredibly tacky and they know you're my child and I won't have them thinking that's how you were raised. Every social gathering had etiquette lectures of what was expected of us kids. The more posts I read here, the more I wonder if other parents didn't have these conversations. Edit. Oh wow, did not expect the awards, thank you so much. Number 4 is especially wonderful. I might have some in my car from the last time we went camping. Let me check. To admit that you brought them in case the host ran out would imply that you anticipated the host would be unprepared. Your mother and grandmother must have been wonderful guests. Grandma always said to be helpful, not condescending, so never plan to save the day, plan to ease the burden of the host. As an adult myself now, I realize just how easy these items are to overlook in the planning frenzy. Not the butthole. It's common sense at events like these to not disappear with half the food when other people are eating. If Lindsay's humiliated, it's solely due to her own lack of common sense and her massive sense of entitlement. I mean, this really seals the verdict. She then gets mad saying, she is just taking her fair share. It got really weird, it was like she just got super territorial of the food. Her fair share isn't the entire dish. Not the butthole. I feel like Lindsay would be a good match for that guy. Web link. Not the butthole. Awkward? Yes. But it was awkward because she violated the boundaries and basic public manners of eating with others. If you have to tell someone to let everyone eat before they take the food, they deserve to be called out. I think it's because Lindsay's greedy. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.